right, let's just jump right in. When you think about the Christmas season kicking off, what comes to mind? Probably, twinkling lights, some festive music, maybe a cozy fireplace. What you probably don't picture is the end of the world. But believe it or not, that is exactly where the Christian season of Advent begins. It's a pretty wild question, isn't it? I mean, here we are, getting ready to celebrate a tiny baby in a manger, but the first thing we hear are these super dramatic, apocalyptic warnings about the cosmos collapsing and a final judgment. It just feels like a total disconnect. And hey, if you're feeling that whiplash, you're definitely not alone. As the scholar Ronald J. Allen points out, this confusion is, well, it's a super common experience. So that's what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna unpack why this season of hope starts in what feels like such a dark and confusing place. To really get our heads around this, we have to travel back in time a bit and try to get into the mindset of the people who first wrote these texts. See, they weren't just being dramatic for the sake of it, they were tapping into a really deep, ancient feeling. Just listen to the raw emotion in this cry from the prophet Isaiah. This is the core of the Advent spirit. It's that feeling of being stuck in a mess that is just way too big for us to clean up on our own, and just desperately wishing for some divine help to arrive. So you gotta understand, the early Christians saw history through this apocalyptic lens. They truly believed they were living in a kind of conflict zone, this tense in-between time, where the dark present age was clashing with the bright new age that God was about to bring in. For them, the birth of Jesus was phase one of this huge transformation. But the work? It wasn't finished yet. Now, whenever we hear language about end times, our brains almost always jump straight to one thing, trying to predict when it's all gonna go down. But the source texts, they actually point us in a completely different direction. And Jesus could not be clearer on this point. In the Gospel of Matthew, he basically says that trying to calculate a timetable is a total waste of time. Not even he knows. So if the goal isn't to predict the date, then what is it? What's the point? And this is the big shift, right here. The whole purpose of this apocalyptic language isn't to give us a secret calendar to decode. Nope. It's to get us to wake up, to be watchful, and to really think about how we're living our lives right now, in this in-between time. Okay, this brings us to one of the most famous and, let's be honest, probably most misunderstood ideas tied to the end times. It's an idea that has massively shaped how a lot of people imagine these events playing out. For literally millions of people, the phrase "left behind" immediately brings to mind that blockbuster book and movie series. It's kind of become the default script in our culture for how this whole story is supposed to go. Right, so the popular idea is that you want to get taken in this rapture. It's framed as this epic rescue mission where all the faithful get zapped out of here, saved from the chaos, leaving everybody else behind to face the music. Okay, but hold on. This is where we really need to pause and look closer at the source. Because when Jesus talks about one person being taken and another left, he uses a very specific story to explain what he means. He brings up Noah, and when you actually look at the logic he uses, it's a complete game changer. Okay, so Jesus directly compares this moment to the story of Noah. So let's think about that story. Who was taken? Well, the people who were living unfaithfully were swept away by the flood. They were taken. And who was left behind to inherit the new world? Noah and his family. The good guys, they were left. So get this. Following Jesus' own logic, being taken is the judgment, and being left behind is salvation. It completely flips the popular idea on its head. You actually want to be the one who's left behind, to live in the new reality that God is creating. All right, so if we're not supposed to be trying to predict the end, and we're not trying to escape the world, then what in the world are we supposed to be doing? This is where we get to the real heart of Advent, learning the art of waiting. You know, in our culture, waiting usually feels, passive, frustrating. It's like a delay you just have to put up with, right? Waiting in line, waiting in traffic. But the sources are inviting us to reframe that, to think of it as active anticipation. It's more like a purposeful, energizing preparation for something amazing that you know is on its way. So there's this really cool way theologians talk about this, called the three Advents. We remember the first one, which is Jesus' birth in the past. We look forward to the final one, his return in the future. But the most important one for us, right now, is the middle Advent, the one that's happening today, where God shows up in our daily lives. This season, then, isn't about just sitting around and killing time. It's really an invitation to a journey. It's about learning to recognize God's presence and God's work in the world today and filling this in-between time with some real meaning and purpose. Okay, so what does this active anticipation actually look like in real life? Well, the sources give us some very concrete examples, modeled by two of the main characters in the Advent story, Mary and John the Baptist. We're called to wait actively through service, reaching out to people who need help, through friendship, sharing our hopes and our spiritual journeys with each other, through prayer, actually making some quiet space to listen, and through action, working to make the world a better, more just place, right now. We're not talking about some quiet, sit-on-your-hands kind of hope here. The theologian Jürgen Moltmann calls it an unquiet heart. It's a hope that makes us a little dissatisfied with the way things are, and it motivates us to work for that better world we've been promised. And in the process, it changes us, right here and now. So when you get right down to it, the surprising, apocalyptic start to Christmas isn't really about fear or escape. It's a wake-up call. It's a challenge to live with an active, unquiet hope, to engage with the world's problems, and to be a force for good while we wait. The real question this season is asking all of us is this: how are we going to choose to stay awake?